Okay, so this evening we are going to do a flight across New Zealand from Milford Sound over to Queenstown, then over to, well, I'll show you on the map actually, rather than just tell you the place names. We're going to fly from Milford Sound over to Queenstown, then over to Tekapo, and then over the mountains and along the coast towards Westport. So it should be a fairly picturesque flight along the way, so we'll try and hand fly as much as we can and really get a good look at the Black Square Beechcraft Baron in Flight Simulator 2024. So you can see it here on the ground at Milford Sound. It's a lovely aeroplane. They've done a really nice job making it. So let's go and jump straight inside the aeroplane and see about starting the aeroplane up. That's why I say that, and then I go and press the wrong key. There we go. So I'm just going to pull up on another screen alongside me the instructions to make sure I don't miss anything too horrendous to start the aeroplane up. So I'm going to type in Baron into my second screen. So the instructions I'm going to be working through, I've made a link in the notes, so it's kind of a functional procedure that takes you through the essentials. You can obviously expand it enormously if you wish to, but you can get a copy via the link in the notes of the video. So if you've not seen the Baron, in recent days you'll have seen me looking at the Bonanza, so the various versions of the Bonanza. There's a naturally aspirated version, there's a turbocharged version, there's also a turboprop version of the Bonanza. The Baron, you get a normal version and you get a turbocharged version. This is the normally aspirated version, so you can see the engine inlets, or I think it is. We'll find out while we're en route. You'll hear the turbos if it has got them. So we've got a control lock on the yokes. We just click on that and it puts it on the floor over there. Let's go and close the door while we're at it, and we'll pop the yoke off while we're getting the airplane ready. So first things first, we're going to go and put the batteries on and the alternators on. You can hear the fans coming on behind things as soon as we do that, which is really nice. All the sounds in this are fantastic, to be honest. So we're going to check on the floor at the fuel in the tanks, so we can either fill the fuel within the tablet within the aircraft, so you can go to payload, and we'll give ourselves a fair amount of fuel today because we are going quite a long way. So you can choose, obviously, in the tablet, as with any of the other Black Square aircraft, the avionics kit that you've got. So I'm going for the GTN 750 today, which is kind of a nice thing to have, really. It's got obviously the engine monitoring, so yeah, this is the normal version of the airplane, and electrical and cabin, so everything's looking fine. So I'll put the tablet away for the moment. If we put some fuel in the airplane, we can also see that the fuel selectors are forwards, which is good. So we'll go and put the beacon light on. And what we're going to do first, before we start the engines, is put the boost pumps on high and exercise the throttles. Now you can see I've got the propellers there as well. So I'm just going to go and put the mixtures on rich while the fuel pump's on high. And you can hear the tone change there. And then we're going to turn the fuel pumps back to off. Having pumped the fuel through, we can then go and start the engines. So we've got the beacon lights on, we've got the fuel on. So there's the right engine, so you can see the spinner there, and we're getting some vacuum happening, which is allowing some of the instruments to come alive. So I had a bit too much throttle there to start the engine to begin with, but now we've got both engines running. Fantastic. So now the engines are up and running, we can leave them ticking away. We'll put them at 1000 RPM if we can get there neat and tidily. There we go. Okay, So nav lights can come on, not the taxi lights just yet. We'll go and put the air conditioning on. We'll go and put the avionics master on now and check everything is booting up correctly. So weather radar should be on standby while we're on the ground. It's obviously got a default state there. It's remembered where it was last time. So let's go and put a basic flight plan into the GTN. So we're at Milford Sound and we're going to go via
TOS,
the
system test
VOR.
OK.
So QN. And it's found duplicates. We want the Queenstown VOR, which is that one. And then we're going to go to Tekapo Aerodrome. Now, is there not a beacon there? No, there isn't. So NZTL will be the closest we're going to get to it. Or November, Zulu, Tango, Lima. Enter. And then our destination today is Westport. So November, Zulu, Whiskey, Sierra. November, Zulu, and Whiskey, Sierra. If I knew where the keys were on the keyboard, I'd be a genius. So we'll just get rid of the licensing messages on the GTN, and we can pull up the map, and we can zoom out. We can make sure we're using the GPS CDI mode. We won't be flying much on CDI, we'll be hand flying a lot of the way. Okay, so we'll put the transponder on standby for the moment. And just have a check round, see how everything's looking. It's looking fine. Okay, let's go and put the taxi light on. Just checking around to see if I've forgotten anything. Oh, the cowl flaps would be a good idea while we're sat here on the ground heating the engines up. Okay, so this is not a controlled airfield. We are running say intentions in the background, but it's not a controlled airfield, so there's no point asking anybody for permission for anything. But we will have a look around. Can we see a windsock anywhere? Yeah, there's one over there, look, and it's hanging rather forlornly. Let me just check I've got live weather on. It's not in there, is it? The weather in 2024 is in here, and we don't have live weather on. We do now. Whoa, that's changed things slightly. Okay. So, what do we have in the way of wind? So we're going to be taking off towards the water. So we want to taxi down to runway 29 along the taxiway there. Along there. So this might get a bit chilly in the cockpit. It's 58 degrees out. Oh no, that's inside. What's the outside temperature? Can we see before we get too close? It's actually quite warm out there. Okay. Flaps ready for takeoff. Let's go and calibrate the altimeter as well while we're at it. Okay. Parking brake on for just a few moments. Let's go and put the strobes on, and the no, you can't quite see it from here. Look, you've got the landing lights either side and the taxi lights. So let's go put both landing lights on. We don't need the internal lights. It's a nice sunny day. We do probably want to have the pitot heats on now, and the stall warning heater, and we don't need windshield, I don't think. Okay, are we ready? Just holding it on the toe brakes. because it's quite a short runway here, so I don't want to take any chances.
Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Terrain ahead. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up.
It was seeing that.
Terrain ahead.
Should we get
Pull
rid
up.
of the TORS warnings? How are we going to do this? If we
Terrain
fly towards the
ahead.
hill, oh, there we go.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
So I've just inhibited TORS so it won't go on at us. Otherwise it could get quite tiresome given what we're going to be doing today. So cowl flaps can come up. And we'll do a U-turn. Look at that. It's glassy water, isn't it? Slow the propeller down. There's a ship down there. Or a sailing ship, I should say. So there's Milford Sound. We're going to go backwards through the valley behind Milford Sound, so it should be quite picturesque. Do you know, I might even change the weather because it's going to look quite bleak unless we change it. And I'd rather have it quite pretty for the views. We'll see. We'll see how we get on. It's quite stark, isn't it? So we don't need the landing lights on anymore, or the taxi lights. Let's put the yoke back on. We can lean the engine out a bit as well. Save ourselves a little bit of fuel. So you can see the route on the map down there, heading out towards Queenstown. So we're just going to weave our way through the hills and mountains along the way. Should be a very pretty route. So there's the Baron. Be going this way. We'll do this from inside before we slam into a hillside. But it does give us a chance to see some of these hills and mountains up close. Let's give it some power. Incredible, doesn't it? So I'm just going to circle here for a bit and then dip over the ridge and carry on the way we were going to go. Just climbing, climbing, climbing. our route, I think over this little ridge here is probably the best way. Quite dramatic up here, isn't
500.
it? Let me just check the volume levels, make sure that you're not being or I'm not being completely drowned out. No, it's fine. Means you get to hear everything going on with the aeroplane. So we're up into the cloud level, so we need to be a little bit careful about that. Not only for visibility, but also icing. And the wind coming down these valleys is trying to tip the aeroplane around when we get near the walls of the hills, or mountains I should say. Thawing out as we get a little bit further north. Those mountains. It is incredible, isn't it? I think that's Mount Cook we can see in the distance over there.
$500.
So we got a question in the live stream: which one to go for, the Aerostar
$500.
or the Baron? I think. Or should we go and put the weather radar on? Sorry, I'll be less distracted in a moment. There we go. I don't know. I think that this is entirely subjective. They are both very, very good. I think the Baron is the prettier aeroplane. And that's purely because I had a dinky toy of this when I was a little kid. And I'm sure lots of other people had toys of it. So it was a very popular aeroplane, I guess, in the 70s and 80s. But in terms of the actual simulator, then they are both very, very good. This is perhaps more flexible because you can switch out the different radio kits. If you prefer analog instruments, then obviously this is fantastic. Okay, should we scoot over this ridge before we get shepherded too far away?
$500. 500.
Speed if we go much quicker. Let's pull the nose up. We could side slip it to get down into the valley. I just want to go down and have a look at this, to have a look at the mud flows. So I'm side slipping to the left, aileron down to the right, to hold a little bit of airspeed off. So we're presenting the side of the aeroplane. It's still not having it though. Slowed the propeller right down. You can hear the airflow without the engine noise there. The air rushing past the body of the aeroplane.
$500.
So the Baron wasn't the Doctor Killer. I'm just reading the live stream comments. It was the V-tail, the Piper.
500.
Oh no, was it the Bonanza that had the V-tail version? It was the V-tail version anyway that got the nickname the Doctor Killer.
500.
It's interesting. The Bonanza and some of the Pipers are very, very similar to each other. They obviously were competing for the same market at the same time. Let's go and cut through this valley. There is a well-known issue with the Baron. I don't know if it's true of the one in the simulator. You need to be careful in the real
500.
world. You have to be careful about airspeed in the Baron, because it has a tendency to go into a flat spin, so it will pancake and it's unrecoverable if it does it. So you do need to be careful when maneuvering at low speed. I guess it's to do with centre of gravity and centre of lift. So just out of interest then, let's take it up to altitude. Just try not to race the propeller too much. I don't want to lunch the engines. So we're going to take it up to a little bit of altitude and stall it on purpose. It's not quite as fast as the turbine Bonanza, is it? Which climbs like a missile. So Queenstown's just around this bend in the lake. So we'll carry on climbing for a bit. We're just coming up to 4,000 feet. We're doing pretty good. Look, 1,500 feet a minute climb. It's not bad. So we'll get to 5,000 feet and we'll do a stall test just very quickly and see if it will get into a spin or not. And if it does so, if it's easy to get it out or not. So if it's anything like the real thing, you're not supposed to stall the real thing because they are lethal. I'm going to speed the propeller up, but cut the power. So then when I bring the power back, we'll get thrust over the surfaces quickly. So it's dropped the left wing. No, it's not going to spin. Having said that, we're not coming out in a hurry, are we? Okay, let's go back to the direction we should have been going. So there's the answer. This simulated version of it will not enter that. I kicked rudder into the turn to see if it would trigger it to spin, but it won't. It may spin to the right, maybe. Depends which way the propellers turn. I'm not sure if they have differentially turning propellers. There's a view you don't see every day. So if we follow this leg of the river up to the, or the lake, up to the left, we will find Queenstown. So we could get on the radio and ask for a touch and go at Queenstown, couldn't we? When we're a little bit closer, maybe. We're 15 miles out at the moment. So we're quite high at the moment. What's the altitude of Queenstown, just out of interest? There's Milford Sound. We are making our way around towards Queenstown. Altitude 1100 feet, so we want to be down to about 3000 to be entertaining approaching into the circuit. Look at these boats. Descending. So we're coming in from the southwest then. So Queenstown is just here, the airport. You can't quite see it. Let's go and tune in using Say Intentions then to... Oh look, we've got the live map running. So there's a few other aeroplanes around, not many though. This is a new feature, by the way, of Say Intentions. You've got a live map of the other aeroplanes around, which is good. So Queenstown International, we're going to go in on the tower frequency 118.1. We are Baron 972 Hotel Juliet. Queenstown Tower, Baron 972 Hotel Juliet, requesting touch and go.
Baron 2 Hotel Juliet, runway 23, left circuits approved. Report downwind each time.
So runway 23 left, okay. Runway 23, left circuits approved. Will report downwind each time to Hotel Juliet. It's interesting that they abbreviated our name immediately. So you're only allowed to abbreviate it if the controller has done so. So runway 23 left circuit, so we need to stay right. Because runway 23 is the other end. Which means we also have to avoid the enormous hill. And give ourselves room to turn. So we're about 1,000 feet above the ground. We have got a radar altimeter in this aeroplane. Okay, let's start preparing ourselves. So it's landing lights on. Tower 2 Hotel Juliet, downwind for left pattern, touch and go, runway 23.
Baron 2 Hotel Juliet, runway 23, cleared touch and go.
Clear touch and go, runway 23, Hotel Juliet.
Baron 2 Hotel Juliet, runway 23, cleared for touch and go.
500.
Came out of the turn a little bit early, but we'll take it. Nice long runway. Tower Baron 2 Hotel Juliet, departing runway 23, will be departing to the east.
Baron 2 Hotel Juliet, after departure, make left turn eastbound. Departure approved, runway 23, cleared for takeoff.
Depart eastbound, Baron 2 Hotel Juliet.
Baron 2 Hotel Juliet, say again.
Departing eastbound, Baron Hotel 2 Juliet.
Baron 2 Hotel Juliet, runway 23, after departure, turn left eastbound, cleared for takeoff.
They don't get it, do they? I'll leave it there. So what I'm going to do is switch back to CTAF frequencies. Radio masts. Okay, so we are going to be heading out So northwest. That's northeast, sorry, what we're talking about. So we'll orbit the airfield, stay at a respectful distance. These hills are amazing, aren't they? So just looking at the comments in the live stream, yeah, the bundle with the Bonanza and the Baron, or Bonanzas and Barons, I should say, from Black Square is very good value for what you're getting. They are very distinct aeroplanes from each other. So you're essentially getting 3 Bonanzas and 2 Barons, and many liveries of each. Okay, let's get the landing lights back off. So, we're going to need to clear some hills, aren't we? Although, saying that, if we drop over this ridge over here, we get into a valley that we can follow all the way along. So I'm presuming, is this the way in, over around the back of this hill? You can see it on the map. Yeah. So we go around this outcrop, turn left, and we should fall into a nice valley that will take us in the right direction of where we want to be going anyway.
Charlie Delta Sierra, contact departure on 125.75.
I thought we were on CTAF, 118.1.
Contact departure on 125.75, Charlie Delta Sierra.
That's rather interesting. What have we got in COM2?
$500.
So we got a comment there in the live stream. The Black Square planes like the Duke and the TBM on the marketplace are in poor shape. The one defense I would put against that is Black Square is a lone developer working on his own for the most part. It is not a company. So the fact he's able to do anything like the amount of stuff he does is incredible, really. And again, yeah, fixing the airplanes is nothing to do with the Sobo or Microsoft. for a lone developer, the rate the platform is moving at is a nightmare. Because as soon as you obviously get your aeroplane sorted for one version, then the entire platform moves on. And yes, it's better, but it introduces incompatibilities with, you know, ways things have been implemented, especially with some of the higher fidelity airplanes, where they may have found their own way of doing something that the simulator can't yet. And then, you know, an incremental change in the simulator breaks the way you were doing it because it's not really supported.
Baron 2 Hotel Juliet, you're leaving the Charlie airspace. Remain outside the Charlie. Frequency change approved.
That was the international airport at Queenstown telling us we're leaving them behind. So, flying down towards, eventually, somebody said, do we want to go and have a look at Wanaka? We could. Whoa, what's going on with this? Recovery from unusual attitude right there. There are gusts of wind kicking over these hills that are pushing us around. What's the wind speed like? Yeah, so it's only 6 knots, but we're getting gusts now and again from the ground. That you can see it there, look. That's not me. That was the aeroplane being pushed around by a gust of wind. So you can see here, look, I'm holding left aileron to combat it. The wind is shifting around us. And there it goes again, look. Had to give it an armful of right aileron. The reason for it, partially, is the speed we're going. We are pushing the aeroplane almost into overspeed. We're in the orange bar. We were up against the red bar for a few seconds there. So it may have been aerodynamic failure of the airframe causing the rolling. I think I've got structural damage turned off. See, it did it again then. There it goes again, look. And it's dumping the nose as well. We're being pushed around. The airflow around us is moving. It's being somewhat unpredictable. Drop down low over these fields. So we should see Wanaka off our right wing anytime soon. Is there a tower up Wanaka? No. So we'll go do a touch and go. So we said the wind is coming in from the north, so it would make sense to do an orbit and come in at the far end. So there's the airstrip directly in front of us. So if we go left circuit, we'll just skim the top of this hill, start dropping the airspeed. Landing lights on. So we'll just skim the top of this hill. I need to get the airspeed down. Get the flaps down.
$500.
Okay, off we go on our way again. Yeah, I haven't got any custom scenery for Wanaka. I know it's available. Right, let's see what the climb rate's like on this thing when it's on autopilot. So at the moment we're doing 1,000 feet. Let me turn the head tracking off for a moment. We're doing, keep an eye on this hill, we're doing 1,000 feet a minute. So if we went up, take it up to 1,500 feet, keep an eye on the airspeed. We have got some power in hand. We're already running the RPM on the propellers quite high. And it's accelerating at nearly 1,800 feet a minute. So that's some good going, isn't it? We still got the landing lights on, by the way. They can come off. Okay, let's go 4,500 feet, should we say, to go for altitude. Hold. And then power and the RPM back. We just trundle along. The autopilot is on. We can relax, look at that. The autopilot's having to fight it as well. So we're staying on this low ground at the moment, then we'll do a slight left turn and try to follow this ridge. So measure distance up to there. So 3 degrees we want. Yeah, so we'll follow this lowland. Unfortunately, we have nothing ready to measure it from. There are a few waypoints around, but not many that are much worth to us. Okay. And the wind's coming actually from our side, so we'll just head north and it'll probably turn across the wind, or be pushed sideways, I should say. Okay, we're all set. It is incredible scenery around here, isn't it? How are we doing for fuel? We're fine. If we have a look up in the weather radar, if you put it on nav mode, it shows you the condition of the aeroplane and you get some options in there. This was how things were implemented before they got around to writing the tablet properly. So if we go and have a look, we haven't got the, oh, we got the cabin temperature is warning us it's a bit cold. So what we'll do is increase the air into the cabin. If we go and look at that in the tablet, you'll see this go green. It's a bit cold at the moment, 44.7 centigrade, oh my word. So what we've done is open this valve to allow the warm air that's coming past the engine in to here. So you'll see that 43, it should start climbing. We could obviously do it more quickly if we pull this all the way out. With a bit of luck, it'll start warming the cabin up. Maybe we need a little bit more altitude. So we're at 4,500 at the moment. Let's go 5,000. Let's go for 7.5. So if we engage vertical speed mode and then pull this out, we can set the vertical speed to 500 feet a minute. And we'll give it a bit more power, a bit more RPM. So we're going, we could go 1,000 feet a minute, couldn't we? Up to 7.5. Yeah, it's just about holding 160 knots-ish. That isn't warming up, is it? So what have we not done? Oh, there we go. So I'd forgotten this. I'd completely forgotten. It's not just a case of doing this. In the Baron, there is an actual engine that generates the heat. It's in the nose of the aeroplane, I think. And it, yeah, look, it's working now. The heat's climbing. So by turning this on, so the heater, we've actually started that heater up that's in the nose of the aeroplane, and that's what's pumping the hot air through. And it's probably, there you go. So the heater is burning. But it does drain fuel. You have to be careful. I'd completely forgotten about that. So what's the ear discomfort issue? Do we have the option of putting headphones on then? I imagine there's a jack somewhere that we can plug into. Should find that the window's open as well, which is nice. Can I get them closed again is the question. There we go. The storm window. So we're within 1,000 feet of our target. That's what this sound was you just heard. And this is going green slowly. Look, it's warming up. Very good. 55 Fahrenheit, 13 centigrade. So we'll be there soon. And then we'll calm it down a bit. We can turn right a bit more now, back towards our route. So it's about 30 degrees looking at the rows. Obviously, if we wish to, we're just slightly off to the right of the track. So if we were to turn across it, we'll put the CDI into the middle. We can get the airplane to do that for us, of course. We've just pressed nav mode. And we're close enough that it's going to correct it on its own. We just need to be careful of these hills nearby. We're coming up 7,500 feet. It's winding out the vertical speed nicely. So we can come off the power a bit probably, and we can probably...
Low bird Niner Alpha Zulu. You're leaving my airspace. Frequency change approved.
I think we're
Copy
picking up
Queenstown, low bird November 239 Alpha Zulu, going to CTAF.
118.1. I think, have we got a nav 2 over here? Sorry, com 2, yeah, we have, look, 124850. I bet that's one of the frequencies that's nearby. Not listed here, but it's going to be something nearby. So what we'll do is put on the radio check channel 118.01. I think that's what's happening. That's close enough. So we'll get no stray signals coming in on nav 2. CTAF's 118.1. That's Common Traffic Advisory frequency, by the way, if you weren't aware. We're shooting off along the GPS track. Look, it's neatened itself up onto the track now. Towards Tekapo. Can't even say it. So we should have distance measuring because it's GPS. So we got 38 miles to run. So we get there. So we can zoom out and see it in the distance in front of us. Look. Right there. You can change the data on here to illustrate whatever you want. And I'm going to try and remember how to do it. So if you press menu, you can do a map set. Oh, no, change user fields. There we go. So then you select the one that you want to change. So we're not really interested in the wind vector.
Queenstown Tower, New Zealand 655 Mike, established on the RNAV-Z runway 23.
We should be able to pull this either way.
New Zealand 655 Mike, roger.
We want the time of the current leg, don't we? There we go, estimated time en route. So 10 minutes to get to the next waypoint. And when you're happy with changing the field, you just press back. this thing does all sorts of tricks. It should be showing it traffic around us. I don't think there is anything around us at the moment. Oh, I say that. Look, there's somebody directly in front of us right now. But if is that one of the simulator aircraft? I think it might be. I don't think it's one of the, say, intentions planes. But it should still be showing up. Interesting. It's showing somebody there, but not the one that's right in front of us. Maybe it's a bit low for it to be showing it. Because it will only show traffic at the same altitude as you, or within a given band. It's still interesting though, I thought it might have shown that. So I'm going to leave this trucking its way along towards Tekapo, and I'm going to go and make a coffee while it's doing it. I'll be back in a few minutes. Right, I'm back. I have coffee. Shall we see where we are? So we are 4 minutes out from our destination, or our en route destination. Let's start descending then. So we're going to go and set our target altitude on the altitude pre-selector. So we need to go and find out the altitude of the airfield, which is 2,400. So if we go for 3,500 at the lowest, so 4,000 would be a good target, wouldn't it? It gives us 1,500 feet over the ground. And we'll descend at 1,000 feet a minute and arm vertical speed. And that means we need to come off the power. And we'll give them a shout over the radio, shall we? We're only a few miles out. So we're coming in from the southwest to Tekapo Aerodrome. I'm presuming it has a... Oh no, it doesn't have a tower. So we'll just be coming in CTAF. Let's have a look at the wind then. Wind is from the northwest, 12 knots. So we'll be going runway 29 to land into the wind. So we could deviate already, say 10 degrees to the east. So if we go heading mode, and we're just heading off this way, and then we just turn in to do a touch and go at Tekapo. So if you look from outside, can you see it already? I think that's it there, isn't it? Can't quite see it. You can see the buildings. Let's put the head tracking back on. Stretch here, isn't it? So autopilot off. I thought it was over there, but is it closer than that? Let's have a look on the map. Oh, there it is. It's in the scrub. So okay, we're going to need to do an orbit.
500.
It's interesting, Woody is calling me out for not making too many radio calls. The funny thing is, if I make too many radio calls on a flight, I get emails with people complaining about me making radio calls and talking to the tower and having the tower on too much. So, yeah, I can't win. If I do IFR flights, I do the whole bit. But if I'm just doing VFR, I've kind of chosen to only call in to towered airfields. There's no point talking into dead space. There's no aeroplanes around us to talk to. And I kind of agree with people saying, you know, if you're not doing IFR on a live stream, what's the point? Unless it's a really busy VFR airspace. And I think Say Intentions would be, you know, would freely agree. At the moment they're still developing the VFR side of things, so you don't tend to get too many aeroplanes doing traffic patterns and stuff like that. It's all heavily in development right now. They're getting there, and they're getting there really quickly actually. It does mean some days you fly along the valley, like through California, for example, and it is so busy. You know, you hear the chatter just incessantly from all of the GA aircraft nearby. Same up along the northeast coast of the US. It can get actually quite... it's difficult to hear your own aircraft call sign through the chatter. Getting underneath the wing sometimes, isn't it? Where's the wind outside, just out of interest? 7 knots, only 7 knots. You wouldn't think it would affect us that badly, would you? So we're going to have to try and figure out a way through. If we go through the Godley River, follow it, that would seem to be a nice easy way of picking our way through. Yeah, if we wanted radio chatter, and we could do it for a bit, I don't suppose it would affect it too much, because we've had some fun and games flying along nice and quietly. We'll just go to, it's probably going to be Christchurch Centre, isn't it? To get, yeah, it's Christchurch Centre 12930. So whereabouts are we? Let's just let them know. So we're about 20 miles northeast of Tekapo. Christchurch Centre, Baron 972 Hotel Juliet at 4,300 feet north of Tekapo, requesting flight following.
Baron 2 Hotel Juliet, say position, altitude and destination.
10 miles northeast of Tekapo, altitude of 4,300 feet, destination is Westport. We didn't follow up with our call sign, let's see if they tell us off. Are they going to respond? Maybe because I didn't close off with my call sign. Christchurch Centre, Baron 972 Hotel Juliet, requesting flight following.
Baron 2 Hotel Juliet, flight following is on request. Squawk 1544, then ident.
1544.
Baron 2 Hotel Juliet, radar contact 19 north of Tekapo Aerodrome at 4100 feet, QNH 1025.
There we go. We'll just repeat back the QNH to him. QNH 1025, Baron 972 Hotel Juliet. So it's going correct for that. That means, yeah, we were about 70 feet out, look, on that altimeter because we hadn't got the correct reading. Which is important if you're at VFR altitudes. Otherwise they don't know if you're at the same altitude as each other accurately. Obviously once you get above the transition altitude, then you're all tuned in the same and it's a lot easier. We'll hear talking to Christchurch. I don't think there's much around. If we zoom out, there's somebody over here. Yeah, there's hardly any traffic around today, for whatever reason. So we got a comment there in the live stream saying, somebody says, realistic turbulence is unflyable in some sim update 4 beta. Yeah, that would be realistic then, because some of the weather we take these airplanes up in Flight Simulator would be unflyable in the real world. Also, if you watch some of the in-cockpit cameras, even the big jets coming in stormy weather, the pilots are sawing away at the yoke. You know, so on the inside, it's like the old saying, isn't it, about the swan gliding over the river. That, you know, what you see as serene and calm on the surface. Oh, look, the weather just changed. What you see as serene and calm on the surface belies what's going on under the water, where the feet are thrashing away. And it's the same with the big jets, with the pilots. You know, earning their keep, keeping it absolutely on the glide slope and the localizer on approach. But in doing so, they are sawing away at the yoke and the pedals and the throttles, and it's impressive to watch. And of course it's easier in the real world because you can feel the aeroplane moving. So you're kind of getting it second hand in a simulator that you're just seeing it with your eyes. So do we start climbing?
Christchurch Control, Kilo Whiskey 50 Charlie, Medevac 50 Charlie. I'm going to open up my IFR flight plan to Christchurch International. Got IMS
We
conditions.
didn't turn the landing lights back off, did we? I'm getting bad
Give
at
me 1 second for that clearance.
Center, Sirius Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra. Sirius X-Ray Golf Sierra, request IFR clearance to Nelson.
So quite often I am getting turbulence, and you'll probably not have noticed if I put the yokes back on, you'll see me soaring away from time to time where the aeroplane is tipping. It's not happening at the moment. We're probably sheltered in amongst these mountains. Yeah, look, we're down. Oh, we've got 9 knots, but it's fairly consistent. If we get near, yeah, look, there we go. Look, I'm having to fight it. If you get close to the mountains, obviously it's modelling the airflow over them. You can't
New
see
Zealand
it.
619, contact Christchurch info on 122.2.
122.2 for New Zealand 619er.
So look, I'm putting in quite a lot of left over on
190.
to hold it. Now and again, it.
Baron 2 Hotel Juliet, I need to amend your flight. Can you tell me your destination?
We are going to Westport, Hotel Juliet.
Baron 2 Hotel Juliet, roger. Flight following to Westport, QNH 1027.
QNH 1027, 72 Hotel Juliet. I think he just shortened it to 2 Hotel Juliet, didn't he? Failure up here, would you? So do we skip out over towards the coast here, or do we go over and continue on up the... Yeah, let's continue on up this... It's been cut out by ice, hasn't it, this valley? You can see the run.
Jetstar 296, can you please expedite your climb to flight level 350?
We could climb a lot faster than we are. We've got a lot of airspeed that we can convert into altitude. I love how Say Intentions has the correct regional accents wherever you are. Okay,
500.
Ease this around. We're coming down to 130 knots. Coming up through 7,000 feet. I'm just going to pop it over this.
500.
There we go. I think we need to turn the heating down a bit. It's 80 degrees in the cockpit now. Maybe open the storm window for a bit. Let some cool air in. Will that affect it quickly? Is it going to simulate that? Apparently not. Get this out towards the coast and then I'm going to stick it on autopilot for a few minutes so I can have my coffee. I watched a documentary about, well, a series of programs about New Zealand a little while ago with a guy in the UK called Griff Rhys-Jones, went exploring over there. And there was this thing that I've talked to a few friends from New Zealand about, a particular wire that has been made famous. I'm not going to remember the number of it, but it's a particular gauge of wire.
Sirius
which is used
646
for...
Foxtrot is ready for IFR clearance to Nelson.
It's kind of become
in just a second.
a way, or not a way of
Cleared
life,
to
that's the wrong
Nelson after
word.
departure, flying radar vectors to Tekapo, then is filed. Initial climb to 8,000 feet. Departure on 129.3, squawking 4452. Clearance void if not off by 1916 Zulu 646 Alpha Foxtrot.
I think it came about the
read back correct.
yeah, the wire became famous because of the number of obviously farmers and people living out in the sticks in the south of New Zealand. If you hadn't got a way of fixing something, you had to find a way of fixing something. And it kind of became known of, you know, people lashing things together with bits of wire. And this kind of, it's almost known as a mentality of this particular, I think it's like a number 42 wire, or number 8 wire, somebody's saying. Yeah, you can fix anything with it, but it's not just that, you know, it's not describing the direct act of doing it. It's a mentality that's known as, you know, that number 8 wire then mentality. Scenery is incredible, isn't it?
$500.
Let's go and make the radar altimeter have a fit. Let's go and buzz the trees.
$500.
100 feet. Only for about a tenth of a second. But it's going to go down again. Like, watch the radar altimeter. 250 feet. Should we go for this ridge? Let's get really low. Through that gap in the trees, maybe.
500.
That was about 80 feet. Going far too quickly. Okay, let's bring the heading back round a bit. altitude hold. So let's go, and so we're at 1,800 feet at the moment. So let's go set this for say 2,000 feet. Oops. We need to climb slightly to get there, so we'll just let the autopilot edge us back up to 200 feet. 2,000 feet. And we'll open the power back up again. What's the outside air temperature doing? So yeah, it's only just above. It's about 6 or 7 degrees outside, look. So I'm going to leave the pitot heat on. Anything 4 degrees or lower you should have it on, but that's close enough to it for me. Okay, so we're going to make our way along. We could do some touch and goes, I guess, at the airfields along the coast. Or we could just enjoy the scenery for a change.
New Zealand 612, Christchurch Control, contact Christchurch Info on 118.5.
Be back in a moment.
Christchurch Info on 118.5 is New Zealand 612, have a good day.
Baron 2 Hotel Juliet, contact Christchurch Info on 118.5.
Contacting Christchurch Info 118.5, Baron 972 Hotel Juliet. Christchurch Info, Baron 972 Hotel Juliet with you, 2,000 feet en route to Westport.
Baron 972 Hotel Juliet, Christchurch Info, good afternoon, QNH 1028.
QNH 1028, Baron 972 Hotel Juliet. Just double check that. Yeah, that's about the same. More or less, about 1 millibar away. So Hassan is saying in the live stream comments that 2020 is better. Better in what way? Because I would beg to differ. I think I've spoken to a number of people who have crossed over to 2024, and in almost any measurable way, as far as we have seen, 2024 is massively superior to 2020. So Woody is asking, are the other pilot voices AI generated or actual simmers, or both? They are both. So Say Intentions mixes two different things together, and you can control how much it does of it. It injects aeroplanes into the airspace around you that are simulated. So you can see them in the sim, and you can hear them talking. If you're on the same frequency, obviously, you can hear them talking to air traffic services, and you can hear air traffic services talking to them. Just the other day I was passing an airfield and we could hear the back and forth from, as I was lining up for circuit for touch and go, there was an aeroplane departing, and we could, because we were on tower frequency, we could hear all of his communications with the tower as he lined up and took off while we were in the circuit. So that's the nice thing about Say Intentions, because it handles the air traffic injection into the sim as well as the communications. You hear the people talking, but what's more impressive to me is you hear them in the local accents, and I think there's well over 1,000 different voices they've got now. It's very impressive the way it does it. So you can actually use my voice in Say Intentions. You can have me as a mentor in the cockpit with you. So I've given them my voice to use. I gave them about 10 or 15 minutes of me talking from various videos, and they used that to train the AI to make a virtual me. So within the simulator, you can have me sat in the cockpit with you and ask me questions that I don't know the answers to, but the pretend me knows everything. It's quite disconcerting. I can show you it now, actually. If you come into Say Intentions, just to finish the story off, you also have the option in Say Intentions. If there are other people in the airspace around you that are also using Say Intentions, you will hear them. If you choose to, there's lots of options for this in the software. But also, if you are in some very quiet airspace and there's nobody around, you can opt to fill the dead space with people that have flown through that area recently. So you can hear the ghost of them, if that makes sense, which just, fills in dead space and makes it feel like there's more aeroplanes up there with you.
New Zealand 636, Christchurch information, roger.
So quite often it also simulates, I think it's called attenuation. So when aeroplanes are too far away, for example, and the signal will start to break up, it does simulate that. So you might only hear half of a conversation. And also it does simulate that you only hear the higher frequencies, you don't hear any bass on the radio. And you can do radio checks to hear yourself, so you talk into the microphone and it plays you back as you are being heard by others over the radio. It's very, very impressive. And the fact that it's so much more flexible than any of the scripted air traffic services solutions. So literally you can do your own thing, and you can have a conversation with the controllers. You can say, I want to go sightseeing. Can I pick up the route in a few minutes' time? And they'll say, yep, and they'll know exactly what you're talking about. And then you just announce when you're back and, reverting back to your route, and they'll be happy with it. I think one of the most impressive things I've seen from Say Intentions is on an instrument flight, where you've got, obviously all the controllers, and you're being handed off between them en route. And they know about your route because you filed with Simbrief beforehand. So Say Intentions knows about Simbrief. That's how it knows where you're going and who to hand you off to. So that's how it's got your flight plan. But I think the most impressive thing that I've seen with IFR flying with Say Intentions is, say you are approaching an airfield and it's fairly quiet. So there's not many other aeroplanes around. And say you've got a fairly complicated arrival route into the airport. Quite often, if the airspace is quiet, they'll call you on approach and vector you straight in, rather than forcing you through the complicated arrival. So when you're kind of 20-30 miles out, they'll just vector you straight for the ILS, for example. Obviously, if it's busy airspace, then you join the queue with everybody else. Yeah, so those that are just joining in, I'm talking about Say Intentions, which we're running in the background. It's fairly quiet over New Zealand today, so there's not much communication going on. We're tuned in with flight following to Christchurch
Good morning, Cathay 27, radio check. Cathay 27, ready to copy IFA clearance. Ready to copy IFA clearance, Cathay 27.
I'll grab that clearance. Give me just a minute.
So you can hear there's somebody that sounded like a human. The AI don't tend to make quite so many mistakes. You do hear controllers that sound a bit fed up from time to time, or that they were busy doing something else and they have to go rustling around with paperwork before they answer you back. That's always quite amusing when that happens, but it does simulate that they're doing something else while they're talking to you. It's very clever. But I think the huge advance or advantage of solutions like Say Intentions or Beyond ATC over VATSIM is entirely dependent on having humans, bums on seats to be the controllers. And that means that you're at the mercy of those people being available throughout and during your flight, and they often are not. So yeah, Say Intentions is wonderful in that you are always going to have fully staffed air traffic services everywhere all the time. And you get different voices between controllers, which is wonderful. Especially when, say, flying over Europe, where, within an hour you can pass through a couple of different countries' airspaces and you'll get the different accents over the radio. It really is wonderful. So here we go, look, we're just passing an airfield. What's the airfield called? We're going to ask for permission to do a touch and go here. So this is Hokitika. Christchurch Centre, Baron 972 Hotel Juliet, requesting touch and go at Hokitika.
Baron 2 Hotel Juliet, cleared for touch and go at Hokitika. Report when airborne.
We'll report when airborne. 972 Hotel Juliet. So yeah, we're deviating from what we agreed, and they're fine with it, so we need to go a bit further.
Baron 2 Hotel Juliet, roger. Continue as requested. Radar service in effect.
Okay.
Morning Control, Shutdown Alpha Zulu, looking for flight following clearance to Westport.
Give me 1 second for that clearance.
Hokitika, Shutdown Alpha Zulu, looking for flight following clearance via VFR to Westport. Westport acknowledged, Shutdown Alpha Zulu, thank you, good day.
Give us a runway for the touch and go? No. Which way's the wind? It's going to be a crosswind, so we're just going to go from this direction. It's not a controlled airfield, so hopefully just have to keep our eyeballs open and see if there's anybody lining up down there. I can't see anybody.
$500.
Christchurch, Baron 972 Hotel Juliet, departing Hokitika, continuing on to Westport.
Baron 2 Hotel Juliet, roger, continue to Westport, QNH 1029er.
QNH 1029er, 972 Hotel Juliet. So, being asked again, differences between, or opinions between Say Intentions and Beyond ATC. Beyond ATC only does, as far as I'm aware, IFR, and it's very scripted. Say Intentions is wide open for conversation. Just to give you there's some fun features in it. So I'm just going to put us on autopilot for a few minutes. Then we can have a play with it, so I can show you it. So let's put heading, and altitude hold is already on. So it's coming up to 2,000 feet, so it should wind it out automatically. And there it goes. I thought I had heading hold on. What's going on? Oh, the autopilot's come off, that's why. That was rather crafty of me, wasn't it? So I probably put a control input in which kicked it out. I'm just going to go and turn hand tracking off, otherwise it looks like a nodding door while I'm looking at Say Intentions. So within the settings of Say Intentions, you can see the identity there, but we can have intercom. So we can have other people in the cockpit with us. You can see there's the multiplayer options, so you can have pre-recorded AI generated voices, you can have live multiplayer global, or live multiplayer proximity, so you only hear people near you. You can have pre-recorded multiplayer, that's what I was talking about. So hear other pilots who were within radio range, and you can turn that up and down. You can also have enable Skynet multiplayer traffic, so you'll hear your friends if they're also running it, so you can have a group code so you only hear each other, for example. So intercom, you can choose who you're going to have on the channels. So we've got 2 channels of intercom. So we're going to say we want on channel number 1, so you can have 2 buttons, maps to it essentially, so you can talk to them in the cockpit. So we'll have a mentor, and obviously I am one of the mentors. You can see me there, look, John Beckett. But we'll go for Chance from Real Sim Gear, because I'm not vain enough to listen to myself. And then channel 2, we could have a cabin crew, or we could have a co-pilot, or SkyOps. So SkyOps is things like search and rescue missions, things like that. So it gives you like a game within the game. Co-pilot is only for IFR, but they can do communications for you and things like that. They can work through the checklists with you in the cockpit, so you can talk them through together. And the cabin crew, yeah, we can turn the cabin crew on for a bit of fun, and you can choose the cabin crew that you want. So if we go for, have we got anybody for? We haven't got anything for GA, I don't think, because you wouldn't have cabin crew, would you? If we just say Caroline from England as the cabin crew on our very, very posh little Baron, and we can go talk to her. So if I want to talk to Chance, I can say, "Hi Chance, what can you tell us about the Baron?"
The Baron is a fantastic aircraft known for its performance and versatility. It typically features a twin-engine configuration, which provides redundancy and improved climb rates. The Baron also has a spacious cabin, making it comfortable for passengers. One interesting fact is that it has a maximum cruise speed of around 200 knots, which is impressive for a piston aircraft. Plus, its fuel efficiency is quite good for its class, allowing for longer flights without frequent stops.
So, Chance, what would you say? How would you compare Say Intentions with other products like Beyond ATC? So now I deliberately made that quite a long-winded question.
It sounds like you're asking about comparing ATC with other flight management tools. ATC provides real-time communication and guidance, while other products like flight planning software can help with route optimization and fuel calculations. Each has its strengths, but ATC is crucial for safety and coordination in busy
I'll have to ask
airspace.
you more specifically, won't I? How would you say Intentions compares with Beyond ATC? He's going to mark his own homework now, isn't he?
Intentions are crucial for effective communication with ATC. While ATC provides instructions and clearances, it's essential for pilots to express their intentions clearly to ensure safety and efficiency. For example, when entering a controlled airspace, you might say Hokitika Tower, Baron 2HJ, inbound for landing, request landing clearance. This helps ATC understand your plans and coordinate traffic.
It's interesting, though, that he's got the context of where we are, look. So let's go and ask the cabin crew. Hi, cabin crew, can we get a cup of coffee, please? So normally they'd be at the other end of a 737.
Captain, I'll bring that coffee right away.
Have you got any biscuits?
Oh, yes, Captain. I can get some biscuits for you right away.
What's your favourite flavour biscuits? I'm just showing you that it's flexible.
Oh, I really love chocolate chip biscuits, Captain. They're just so delicious, eh? How about you?
So let's go and change the intercom over. So instead of the cabin crew, we're going to go for tour guide, but I'm not going to go for Sarah, who is very Wikipedia-ish. We're going to go for Janet, who is a bit of a generation...
Since there are no specific points of interest nearby, let's talk about Greymouth, the closest city. Greymouth is known for its rugged beauty and wild West Coast spirit, but locals whisper about the old coal road that winds through the hills just outside town. They say if you drive that road after dark, you might hear the echoing footsteps of miners who vanished in a sudden collapse over a century ago. Some claim to have seen a lantern swinging in the mist, with no one holding it.
Hi, Janet.
And the sound of pickaxes tapping faintly in the distance. The bravest, or perhaps the most foolish, have reported glimpses of a shadowy figure known as Old Tom, forever searching for his lost crew.
We can't get the tour guide to shut up, that's the problem.
Right now, we're about 5 miles east of Greymouth Airport, which is in New Zealand. So if you look out the window and see a lot of New Zealand, that's probably why. If you see anything else, let me know, because that would be weird.
Yeah, so this is intentionally funny, by the way. It's not that she's not intelligent, she's being deliberately obtuse all the time. Where would be a good place to stop to get something to eat on this route?
Well, if you're after a bite, the best place nearby is probably Greymouth itself. It's famous for fish and chips so greasy, you could probably use them to lubricate a small tractor.
Would you like me to get you some?
$500.
Oh, that's very kind. But the last time someone offered me food in a moving vehicle, it ended up in my lap and a seagull got involved. So I'll pass, but thanks for the offer.
So there you go. That's the obviously the mentor is really useful because they can explain technicalities of the airplane. Tour guide not so useful, but it's there's a novelty factor there. The co-pilot is fantastic, and especially when you use it in combination with checklists. And you can design your own checklists. You can download them that other people have prepared, but you can actually design your own checklists as well, which I've tried. There's a wonderful checklist designer that comes with Say Intentions, but we can obviously disable them as well. But if you've got a technical question about something to do with the aeroplane, the mentor will always be able to answer that question for you. So let's go and ask Chance a question just to give you an illustration of that. Hi Chance, why is it that some of the instruments need suction from the engine?
Great question. Some instruments, like the attitude indicator and the heading indicator, require suction to operate because they use a gyroscopic mechanism. The engine provides this suction through a vacuum pump, which creates the necessary airflow to spin the gyros. This allows the instruments to give accurate readings of the aircraft's orientation and direction. It's a crucial system for maintaining situational awareness, especially in IMC conditions. Keep up the good work.
So it becomes really useful to get questions answered. So we're going to go, I think, over the top of the hills. We've gone the wrong side, haven't we, while we were busy messing around. So it gives us a chance to play with the autopilot as well. So let's go and press the button in on the altitude pre-selector to show the altitude again. So we'll need to look down here and find out how high these are. So we're looking at about 800, so 1200 meters. So times 3. So if we go for 5,000 and then climb at 1,000 feet a minute, engage vertical speed mode, and we're going up. We'll also turn our heading bug across the hills slightly. Now, have we got a VOR down here? No, we haven't. Oh, that's a shame. We have got a DME though. Yeah, there's lots of new things that have started appearing in Say Intentions just recently. So we've got a live map, so you can see those are the simulated aircraft in the airspace near us. We've also got an airport lookup, so we could, for example, look up Westport, so November Zulu Whiskey Sierra. Choose. Can we not? Oh, other. Sorry. November Zulu Whiskey Sierra. Search. And when you do that, let's get the map out of the way. You get all of the information about the airport within Say Intentions, which is really cool. And you get the METAR or meteorological report. So obviously that gives you the station name and the time and the wind direction and speed. It's good, isn't it? And there's a number of these acronyms that are standard, you know, for whether it's clear or partially cloudy or all the rest of it. They're in international standard. So alongside that, we've also got the checklists. Obviously, yeah, I haven't made a checklist for this aeroplane, and nobody else has yet. SkyOps, we can tune into SkyOps dispatchers so we can play games with being rescue pilots and things like that, going looking for people who are lost in the mountains or whatever it happens to be. There's obviously information about what's new within the simulation. So what's really cool is there's a mobile app as well for Say Intentions. So say you're doing a really long route and you need to nip to the shops, you can call into ATC on your phone, and you can, obviously if you've got the co-pilot, you can ask the co-pilot to take over the radio comms while you're en route. So they'll keep changing frequencies for you, as you know, and it's just fantastic. It really is. So if you need to go out for a couple of hours on a really long route, you can be talking on your phone to ATC in regard to your aeroplane. So there's a comment there that they need to add specific procedures that the real ATCs follow, especially at big airports. They are doing that. It just takes time. They're a small team. They're not hundreds of employees like Asobo. So they are tuning it the whole time. They've got dedicated staff that are doing exactly that. So you land at a lot of the big airports. They've got obviously
Canada 3023 checking in flight level 30.
AI doing route finding for taxiways and things like that.
Roger.
But that has to be hand-tuned to make it realistic, and they're busy doing that with the bigger airports. But obviously it's an endless task that just goes on. And it's kind of, it's a dangerous game to get involved in, making it too accurate. Because you get the same problem as, you know, say somebody brings out a warbird, for example. It happened when the Spitfire and the Hurricane came out from Aeroplane Heaven, or there's several different Spitfires around, aren't there? But I showed one of them on the stream, and somebody basically wrote an essay in the comments about how developers were awful because they had the wrong colour paint on the pylon the engine is bolted to, or that there was a hyphen in Rolls-Royce, and they just went on and on about it, and it's just, you know, where do you draw the line? And it's the same kind of argument with ATC. Yes, it's good, and it's an approximation of the real thing. It's never going to be perfect, but it's close enough to have fun with. But yeah, they are striving to make it better and better, as they would. So if you go and join the Say Intentions Discord, you'll see lots of notices from them where they're working on it actively, and they make announcements almost every day with things they're tweaking and improving and tuning. So let's drop back down to 3,000 feet. Cut the power back to avoid overspeeding. So, Westport is going to be a visual approach. It's right out on the beach, look. There's a golf course next to it. There's hardly any wind. What's the wind doing at the airfield? We go and look, 40 degrees, 10 knots. That's interesting. So that would support coming in runway 04. Where we are at the moment, so this is a common mistake people make. They go and look somewhere on the map. That is not the wind for that place. That wind showing in LittleNavMap is wherever you are, which is going to be wildly different than sort of 20 miles up the road, or potentially wildly different. So we're dropping down to 4,000 feet. We'll start richening the engine up a little bit. How much fuel have we got left, by the way? Lots. And we'll give Westport a call in a few minutes' time. So comm frequencies for Westport, Unicom. No, it's not a towered airport, so we can, if we want to, we can do it accurately. So I guess in the real world, you might orbit the airfield to drop into the circuit on the downwind leg and then circle in. Just getting back to the whole story around what Say Intentions are trying to do, and the scope or the scale of the problem. It's one of those things like movie special effects, where the closer they get to reality, the bigger the uncanny valley gets. Where, you know, where for the most part of a flight it will be brilliant and will completely hoodwink you into thinking it's a real person. And then now and again it will just make a tiny mistake which gives the game away. And it becomes harder and harder to kind of whack those moles, if that makes sense, to, you know, to polish those rough edges. Because it's often those rough edges are in really odd situations where humans are really good at dealing with that, but machines are not so good. But that can work both ways as well, of course, because AI has already proven itself at lots of things, you know, that it's better than humans at, like driving cars. Given good enough sensors, it's way better than humans at driving cars, because it never gets tired, never gets distracted. Doesn't start thinking about anything other than driving that car. driving it correctly. Okay, let's find out. So this is going to be 0, isn't it? The altitude of or 7 feet above sea level. So we're going to drop down now to then 1,000 or 1,500 feet-ish. So let's go 2,000, so 1,500 feet please. Engage a vertical speed mode. Come down at 1,000 feet a minute again. And let's see what we're going to do. So we're going to fly around the airfield and drop in at 1,000 feet on the downwind leg. Well, that's the plan. Flying 220 degrees. Is it actually 220? No, it's 213 degrees. So we're going to use the course line just to help us with that, so we know the runway direction. It's a shame we haven't got a VOR nearby. If we did, we could play games with the RNAV computer. But I think that's going to be too far away, isn't it? Yeah, it's like, even though it's got a huge range, it'll be so far out by the time you get here. Because the RNAV computer can establish a virtual VOR at a range and radial of your choosing. But that's too far away. It would be a waste of time. So we're going to fly around the back of the airfield. There's the airfield. Okay, let's get this going down towards... We're at 1,500 now. So we're telling it now to get down towards 1,000 feet. So obviously we can, now we know the runway direction relative to us here, we can use this. So we can go 90 degrees across the runway for the base. Let's start getting the speed under control. Put the landing lights on. Okay, 90 degrees again. So if we were going to be doing common traffic advisory frequency calls, we would go to the CTAF frequency on the COM1, so it's done that for us from Say Attention. It's one of the nice tricks it does. We can take over flying, and we'll put on head tracking now so we can get good visibility around us to know where we are. And we can say traffic, Baron 970 Hotel Juliet, downwind Westport for full stop landing, runway 04. I should have checked that beforehand, really. Westport traffic, Baron 972 Hotel Juliet, turning base, runway 04. Westport traffic, Baron 972, Hotel Juliet, turning finals, runway 04.
$500.
So we're a little bit high. So we'll just let the airplane sink. Give it a bit more power to stop it sinking in a moment. We want one red and one white ideally. There we go. Wind is still moving around here. I don't think there's any taxiways here, so I think we have to backtrack. Off. Looks good here, doesn't it? Okay, so remembering this is the Black Square aeroplane, I think it will remember the state of things. So we're going to starve the engines of fuel to get them to shut down. Nav and beacon light go off. The heaters go off, alternators off, master avionics off. Go and turn the battery off now. And yes, things I always forget to do is go and turn the rest of the radios and everything off. So we should have pressed off on that before it went off. We got the volume knobs on the various radios, which will actually turn them off properly, which we should have done ahead of time, but it means at least when we start up next time, they'll be in a good place and we'll have to go around turning them back on. And then below we can go and turn the fuel off as well. And put the control locks back in. Oops. And you can go and see how the engines are doing. Obviously they've stopped moving now, the pistons have all stopped, so 100%, look, we've looked after the engines remarkably well. Very good. Okay, there we go. We can open the door and we can have a look around the cabin. I didn't actually do that earlier, did I? So let's go and scoot into the back of the airplane, and you can open the table, play around with things. You can see the chocks are in the back there. If you go into the tablet and go into, I think it's in payload, You can put the chocks in place, put the pitot covers on, put the covers on the engines, attach the external power if you wish. So if we do that and have a look. So that's interesting. Where's the external power been put? Oh, I didn't turn it on. There we go. Or maybe it won't do it. No, it won't. An engine heating system, which I think is quite novel. Big hairdryer and some tubes. It's good, isn't it? So that's the Baron from Black Square, and you obviously heard say intentions along the way as well. Hopefully you enjoyed that today. So that was a little look around New Zealand. So yeah, someone's saying, can we go for a wander around? Let's go and have a look. So if we go backspace, this is obviously the party trick of 2024. 2020 can't do anything like this. So we can go for a walk and go and have a look at this King Air that's parked up here. Maybe go and steal it. Jump in Grand Theft Auto style. So I don't know if we can walk through the walls with the guy. No. So what you can do to get around that, if you're rather smart, which I'm not always, is go and plug in the drone camera, which I've just done. I'm just getting an Xbox controller, so bear with me for a few seconds while I scrabble around with 20 yards of cable, which it happens to have on it as an extension lead, and then power up the USB port, and there we go. The Xbox controller is working. We can now move around the aeroplane. But more importantly, we can go and have a look at the airport. So this is Westport. This is custom scenery, by the way, I think. I'm not sure if this comes with... Actually, it might come with the simulator, thinking about it. I can't remember ever buying it. Oh, it won't let us in. That's a shame. They've done the trick. Yeah, that's going to be an Asobo one. They've done that trick where you can't actually go in, but we can gaze through the window longingly at the nice comfy seats. Can we go and have a go on the quad bike? Let's go and have a nose around the airfield then, seeing as we're here. It's done quite nicely, isn't it? It's a shame there's no people dotted around. Tour bus. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully you enjoyed that today. So yeah, as we said, that's flying the Baron from Milford Sound across New Zealand, across the South Island of New Zealand, I should say, up to Westport. On the way, we stopped off at a number of airports, or stopped off, did touch and goes, among them Queenstown and I'm going to forget the name of it again. Tekapo. So there we go. There was the basic route from A to B. Anyway, I'll see you again soon. Take care.